Equipment 10+2. Thank you for not plea bargaining when you knew you had done nothing wrong. Yet David Miller, Brad Sheila, and others took you down and called you to stand and spend your money for a cause that you knew was unjustified. We are on the state capitol to say to the governor of the state of Georgia, when will this charade end? And when can the people of Brooks County return back to being respected as citizens of the state of Georgia with the best intent of voting and encouraging others to vote, even by absentee ballots? Once again, this is the Ghetto Free Press, honoring and recognizing the Equipment 10+2 Lula Smart trial for the second time have ended up in a mistrial, and yet nobody have talked about charges being brought up for alleged federal violations of the law or by state law of taking ballots home. We had better wake up, y'all. This is not covered in the news because they don't want you to know. But under our form of government, you have a right to know. This is the Ghetto Free Press. I'm George Rhymes, and this is the end of day one at Lula Smart, one of the Equipment 10+2 trial for alleged voter fraud in Brooks County, Georgia. And I'm standing on the courthouse grounds. I didn't see any television station here today. I didn't see any newspaper reporters today either. This is a high-profile case. It's a case that's so important because it's dealing with voters' rights. And it seems as if, though there's a pattern, I guess, and a practice just maybe, that very few people are that interested when it comes down to voting here in the state of Georgia. And so I am very in tune with what's going on. I have followed the Equipment 10+2, and I intend to continue to follow them. And so we're going to close this out, and we're going to see what day two looks like tomorrow. And I'm looking before this week is over, just maybe we can get some of the television stations like news media to come out and cover this story. It is a high-profile case. It's really high. And I'm kind of disappointed in the jury selection process because they got only one is on the jury. Only one black male is on the jury, and one black is an alternate. Of course, we got some Hispanics, but I'm kind of concerned about that. It seems like no matter where we go, the jury selection process, for whatever reason, it just don't look like a real reflection of our community. And so I'm going to stay on top of this. Although we didn't have news media here today, it don't matter with me. I'm going to do what I do, just like in Meigs, Georgia. They didn't want to report that. I was in Gordon, Georgia with Mayor over there. They didn't want to report that. I went to Dawson, Georgia, where they shot the man 6 times. It just seemed like something is wrong with the news media here in the state of Georgia, as well as the voting process. But what we're going to do, we're going to keep you informed because you do have a right to know. And so once again, this is the Ghetto Free Press. I will be back tomorrow for day 2. And we just going to stay here and keep it in your face, keep it in your face. Once again, George Boss Rhyme, the Ghetto Free Press, saying bye-bye, we go. Greetings. Today is April the 14th, 2013, and I'm standing in front of the Brooks County Courthouse. The Lula Smart trial has begun. As you know, a few months ago, September of last year, her case ended in a mistrial. The state of Georgia is now bringing that trial back on the grounds of that she committed approximately 30 counts against the voting process here in Brooks County. We sat in the courtroom that just broke for lunch. I didn't see many news media cameras or newspapers present, but because this is such a high-profile case here in Brooks County with the NAACP, the SCLC, G.B.R, and other civil rights organizations, there is no way that the Ghetto Free Press could ignore the first day of what may take a week or longer. And so we are here because we want you to know what takes place. As you know, during the other trial of Lula Smart that ended up in a mistrial, there was many things that took place that you don't know about because, once again, the news media did not consider this to be news, and therefore it did not get the coverage that I think it deserved. However, as I did then, and this is already on Boston G.B.R. on YouTube, I'm going to keep you posted on what is happening here today. We have another judge. He seems more thorough. He seems that he is very cautious in that he does not want another mistrial. I was overly surprised by the number of whites that are available to serve on this jury, but the selection process has just begun, and we will see how it will end up, or we will see if it is like the other trial where there was only one or two blacks on that jury. Once again, this is the Ghetto Free Press. We are broke. We've just taken a break for lunch. We'll be back in an hour and a half, and we are going to keep you informed. If no other news media give the Quitman 10+2, especially the Lula Smart case, any news coverage, as a little small social media man, I want to keep you informed because, after all, under our form of government, you have a right to know. Greetings, this is the Ghetto Free Press, and it is April the 21st, 2014. Here on Ashley Street is where Kendrick Johnson's parents and relatives and friends and supporters have gathered for over a year now, seeking and expecting justice concerning the death of their son, many unanswered questions are still pending here in Valdosta, Lowndes County, and in the state of Georgia. They have been criticized, maligned, and in some cases, damned. Yet they continue to stand for justice, standing to try to find out what actually happened to their son on January the 10th and 11th, on January the 10th and 11th, 2013. And you know, on Friday, Lula Smart, one of the Quitman 10+2, had her day in court over in Brooks County before 12 jurors, and only one black was on that jury. This is what we see over and over again across America. Whites can sit and judge blacks, but blacks cannot sit and judge whites on an equal basis. This is not playing the race card. This is a fact of reality. And all one has to do is to check the archival record. No need of finger pointing. History speaks for itself. And if I may ask the people of the state of Georgia, when have you seen a majority jury? But even more saddening than that, when have you ever seen an all-black jury sitting and judging whites? Now, if that is the truth, then it's just the truth. But did you not know that this case in Quitman concerning the alleged voter fraud was started by what they claimed to be was a spike in absentee ballots received in 2010 election, 1,400. But look, I said from day one that the law had changed in Georgia wherein anybody could vote by absentee ballots. But you never saw that question asked in your newspapers, did you? But I asked it from day one. Why didn't they define who could vote by absentee ballots? You didn't see that on TV, radio, nor television. But I stated it in my blog, and you can go see on kvci.blogspot.com. That was my question then, and that is my question now. And so after they requested the investigation and the arrest of 10 outstanding citizens in Brooks County, many of them, most of them educators. Some of them even have a PhD or have a PhD pending. But that didn't matter, you see, because for the first time in Brooks County history, that election gave blacks a majority on the Brooks County Board of Education. Now don't blame me for speaking about race. That is a fact of reality. And I didn't create that. That was way before I was born. Now, what you don't know about that case, although it was the second mistrial, the first mistrial was granted by Judge Lane on the 18th of April. The second mistrial was granted by Richard Porter. And now we all see that the Quitman 10+2 case has become so much deeper than just the Quitman 10+2, because now we are seeing a hand or hands behind the hand of a man with a master plan to put these outstanding citizens in jail or in prison. But look, the man that works in the United States Post Office, mishandled, as came out in the trial, personal mail and released information from this mail to a person that he say he didn't hardly even know. And so now the question is, had they not said anything and just plea bargained their case, they could have ended up in jail a long, long time ago. So today what we are going to talk about is an attorney that served on the Brooks County School Board of Education, took money out of his own pocket and paid for a private investigator to come in and spy on someone, as came out in the trial. Now look. I didn't create this scenario. This was done without my help. Moreover, the registrar took ballots from a tax-funded building where she works to her home. Now, the question is, why haven't the state of Georgia questioned and possibly took actions on those absentee ballots that she took? Was that also mishandling absentee ballots? Going to get better in a minute. She deputized two people that are employed at the Brooks County Board of Education, or of Elections rather, where they was in the tax office really. And they helped her with the high volume of absentee ballots received for the year 2010. But she also deputized her granddaughter and paid her granddaughter for assisting in that job. So during the trial, the defense asked the question, did she advertise that job to all the citizens so anybody could have applied for that position, or so they could have gotten the best qualified person? After all, you know, that's what they say now. We want the best qualified. Look, it seems now as if though the Equipment 10 case has become so deep now that somebody needs to investigate the very basic and foundation of why the Secretary of State, along with the District Attorney David Miller and others, found it necessary to bring up all of these alleged charges for absentee voter fraud. Or was it just that somebody didn't like the Board of Education in Brooks County being a majority black board? Now look, if you just focus on Brooks County, you still may do yourself a disservice. Brother Ryan, why you ask that question? Or why do you say that? Because the Madison 8 was also brought up on charges in the same manner. And across the state of Georgia, and now that we are looking into it a little deeper, it seems as if though there's a pattern and practice across this nation to weaken the black Americans' vote here in the United States of America. I did not say that. The late Senator Robert Brown spoke on that on several occasions. The Representative Tyrone Brooks has spoken on this on many occasions. The former NAACP State of Georgia President Edward DuBose have said the same things. President of the Southern Christian Leadership Conference, Steele, has said the same things. Reverend Joseph Lowry and the People's Agenda also have expressed the same points of view. Yet, you don't know what happened at Lula Smart trial, because that seemingly a clique and those among the slicks have made it possible to keep the people in Valdosta, Quitman, and Brooks County, and South Georgia, and the state of Georgia ignorant concerning all the abnormalities and apparently violations of the law away from everyday common folk. That means that as long as they control the news media and keep the truth from getting to the masses of the people, then they can continue to do what they always have done. And therefore they will look like the righteous, when in truth there is a hand or hands behind the man or woman with the master plan. And so we are living now when we are calling on the pastors We are calling on the imams in Islam. We are calling on the rabbis in Judaism. We are calling on the monks, and we are calling on you, Democrat, Republican, Independent, Green Party, or no party at all, to stand up for what is right and just under our form of government in the United States of America. Or we might as well stop telling our children that we are living in the land of the free, in the home of the brave. And therefore, there may be a great possibility that our children should not fight these wars in foreign nations to protect their rights, while we, after 498 years, are still living and being mistreated in ways that should not be in 2014. And so I close by saying to you, there is something happening in our world, and it's all on time. God have called this day. God have called a new breed of people today. White people now are intermarrying with black folk, whether we like it or not. They now have interracial children who have gone to college and applying for a job, and they are now seeing that impediments are put up for their children, and now they're beginning to feel the real heartbeat of the pain that some Americans have had to go through for centuries. And so as they begin to tell their stories to the world, just maybe foreign nations around the world will get a clearer picture of what a real democracy looked like. And so I want to thank the Equipment 10+2 for not plea bargaining. You young folk who plea bargains and find yourselves in jails and prisons, stand up when you're right. Stand up when you're right. God is calling us to stand up for what is right. There is no need of going to church if you can't stand up. Why waste God's time while you pretend? You dip in church. Our pastors dip in church. I dip in church. When I duplicate Jesus, imitate Muhammad, placate the son of Amram and Yoshabel, Moses and others. But when it comes down to standing up for what is right in God's world, we punk out under pressure as if though we fear man as we should fear God. And so I want to say to you today, whatever you do and wherever you go, stand up for what is right. This is what Kendrick Johnson and Jacqueline has done. This is what the Equipment 10+2 has done. And in that scenario of the Equipment 10+2, only one black man was with them, because we men folk have failed in our responsibility to stand up with our women, our mothers, our sisters, and our aunties. And we now let the women take the stage while we go and watch a football game, or while we go out and entertain a woman when we should be entertaining our children and the God of the universe. I'm gonna leave you now. May God bless you. And before you condemn me, of course you're welcome to, because we must understand that if you say nothing, nobody condemns you. If you just go to church and talk about how holy you are and how close you are to God, and prophesy and prophet lie and play these silly games that even children know are games. Nobody gonna call you the dirty names that they call Jesus and the other prophets, priests, and kings who travel that great line of holy divine. But when you stand up for what is right in a wicked world, and you seek to save our children from the jails, prisons, and death row, then they're going to call you everything but a child of God. And so please, don't think that I'm angry because I speak the way that I speak. But I am indeed tired of seeing people play with the God of our ancestors who brought us from a mighty long ways. And it is indeed time now for the Postal Service to take action. Can you imagine? Somebody worked for the post office for 18 years and never heard of the Privacy Act and how to protect personal mail. Can you imagine a person working for the state and not knowing that taking personal information away from a location approved by the county and city and state governments into their own homes? You don't have to be a rocket scientist to understand that. So as a retired military veteran, I'm asking all people that wear the uniform to follow the Equipment 10+2. Follow the Kendrick Johnson case. Follow my over 300 days under criminal trespass without ever being issued a trespass form as was issued in Thomas County. They don't issue those passes apparently in Lowndes County, but they issue them in Thomas County. And I'll be showing you that form pretty soon. And then in spite of all of that, nobody have come to me about this criminal trespass warning. And you all who visit Valdosta, Lowndes County in the state of Georgia, you must understand that we are apparently under a set of laws that can be put in place and abolished at the stroke of a pen or a phone call over a Lowndes County Sheriff Deputy radio. So we can look at me, who have violated no law, 21 years in the United States Armed Forces, only got one letter of counseling, and I got that one removed. And they're gonna put me under a criminal trespass warning for nothing. And nobody in the Southern Judiciary has said anything about it. No news media have interviewed me. No news media have published my story, nor the 14-year-old girl incident at Pine Grove Middle School, although the mother and father gave all the news media documents and told them, inform the general public. They refused to do it, just like they refused to report on the Equipment 10+2 mistrial case. But then again, I guess you say, who really cares anymore? Who really cares? We are going down the road of ancient Rome anyway. So why should we care? Should we not care about the nation that our brothers, sisters, and fathers gave their very lives to protect? Well, this is the Ghetto Free Press, and I'm doing what I do, and I have a long record, and just maybe one day, they may force people to dig deep into what I have done since 1975 and maintain a documented record. Just maybe one day somebody will interview me, or maybe they will look upon the information that I've gathered. Then again, there are people who are working now to let the people know that if we are to remain a republic, we must stand up for what is right in God's world before the light turns red and everybody will be forced to sing. Well, as it was in ancient Rome, the people get where they just don't give a damn. They just give up. They don't fight anymore as the people that came before them fought. And so you're not worthy to have freedom and justice in your town, in your state, or in your nation, because you didn't care about nobody outside of yourself. You just wanted your friends and loved ones to have a big banking account, while you said to everybody else, we don't care about your injuries, your pain, and your suffering. As long as I got mine, you don't have to have yours, and I don't care about you. Yet we'll stay in the church, the mosque, and the synagogue, and we'll continue to play our games. But you see, when the real Jesus comes, and when the real Jehovah comes, you're gonna ask, what happened to my children? Why is my generation and my lineage so sick? What have fallen upon all of my siblings? You see, the Bible talks about when you mistreat someone, it can fall upon coming generations. Oh, you may miss it, but in your lineage, somebody will pay for the wrong they've inflicted upon others that are called children of God. Once again, the Ghetto Free Press. Bye-bye.